100.5.
I am switching to English tonight because I have a lovely guest that is joining me. So hearing is something so many of us take for granted, but for millions of people worldwide, including musicians, hearing loss is a daily reality. So today we're not just talking about awareness, we're celebrating resilience, passion, and the power of music beyond limitations. And who better to have this conversation with than an artist who has defied every expectation. Despite living with hearing loss, she knew from the age of 7 that music was going to be part of her life. She's dominated charts, built her name for herself in the industry, and continues to prove that talent knows literally no boundaries or barriers. She's raw, she's real, and she's here tonight. Carla Franco on Fokus. Hello,
Hello.
Are you here? I can hear you. I cannot hear you. I can hear you. Say hello.
Hello.
There we go. Here you are. Hello, Carla. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I'm the one that's not supposed to hear you, not the other way around.
Okay. I apologize. I will do better. But
I believe you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show tonight. It's a very special edition of Alt Focus. Not only are we focusing on you, who is an amazing musician, we're also speaking about your journey up to getting into the industry and how, like I said in my intro, you have been defying odds, you have been resilient, and you have a very big story to tell. So before we start with you as a person and where you are in your journey in 2025, let's get a little bit of a recap for Carla Franco. Okay, so I do have to say, I fell in love with your music when you sang to me that you are scared to love. And I was like, me too, Carla, me too. And from there on, I have followed the journey alongside you. So let's talk about age 7. You are falling in love with music. And then you're like, okay, I want to do this.
Yeah, it was wild. I always tell the story of how at school there were music rooms like on the other side of the passageway. And to get to our school bathroom, you had to walk past the piano room. And then you had every now and then that, sorry if I offend anyone, but that God-forsaken sound of a recorder. Mm-hmm. And then every now and then you had a beautiful piano finding its way in.
Yes.
And I remember listening to that, and my mom was adamant that we had to do one sport and one musical instrument. And to this day, I'm so grateful that was something that was encouraged. It honestly just took hearing it once and being in a family that loved listening to music, not necessarily playing it, but just listening. It just has always felt organic. It's just something that's always felt natural for me. And I didn't really think about the business side of things. I was just like, I love this and I can't wait to do this for the rest of my life. It really always felt embedded in me.
And then you got to a point where you had a piano teacher who literally had time and patience, because you know sometimes people who teach younger people an instrument, they're like, you have to do this. How don't you know this by now? But they were patient and they saw the passion and they were on the journey with you. And from there on out, you're like, okay, not only do I have a passion for music, I have a fancy skill called playing piano. And I was like, oh yeah, I can't play the piano. So, wow.
Look, in all fairness, I survived all but a year. It started getting to a point where I was watching the patterns because I couldn't read the theory.
Yes.
And I was just like, nah, it's cool. I'll figure this out by myself. And that was really the end of any formal training for me when it comes to music. But yes, my choir teacher, my marimba teacher, my piano teacher definitely did not have it easy. I'll say that much. They really didn't.
I think you can be a very fun student, but also very hard-headed if you are putting your mind to something, right?
Yes, I'm also very opinionated and unafraid to say what I feel, which, you know, at 7, 8 years old is not as cute as you think it is.
You know what? But that's why we're here tonight, so we can hear your opinions, we can hear your journey, and you can, as long as you keep it PG and I keep my job, you can say whatever you want. But we are here as well because this week was World Hearing Day on Monday. And throughout the whole entire week, GROOT FM has been, getting people from all walks of life to come and talk about their experiences and creating awareness. And I felt like one thing that people do not sometimes, merge with hearing loss is music, because they're like, you can't hear, so how are you going to do music? What would you say does this day mean to you personally?
It's difficult. I've got a very, very difficult relationship with my hearing loss. Like, I'm super comfortable talking about it, and I make a lot of jokes. I'm actually like a teacher, so a lot of the times I make like deaf jokes in my class. Obviously not inappropriately, but if they ask me, ma'am, did you hear that? My first answer is really, really, do you really think I heard that? And it's a really good giggle.
Yes.
And I have no problem being comfortable in that space. But I think the reality is I don't wear my hearing aids as often as I do and should. I think because that relationship between putting it in and the moment you take it out, it's just like a daily realization of just how much I can't hear. And that's tough. I think it's really difficult because for me it was like, but this is so natural to me. I can't imagine my life without creating music and without listening to music. But I was also hyper aware of how much I wasn't hearing. And if you listen to my music carefully, a lot of it is in that alto, very bass heavy sort of bracket. And because I hear more and feel more with that lower vibration. So I think hearing for me, I don't know what it means for me. I think I was so determined to do music. It never felt like I had to overcome something. I just had to prove a point. But I think it's just understanding this is something that you have, but my determination to just do music was greater than my concern for not having full hearing. I felt like, well, I can still hear the music to some degree. I see no reason that I can't do this. And I feel like, I always say I feel like I'm on borrowed time because my hearing can decrease as I get older. Yeah. So what a waste it would be to not pursue something that I love, and to not pursue music just because I think I can't hear what I need to hear. That's such a wild, weird concept for me. So I think for me, it's not overcoming, it's just acknowledging and being determined to move past it. So I think, that's what it means for me, just normalizing it, and having that honest conversation with myself with like, what? I don't know what half those people just said for the last 15 minutes, but, we're just going to swiftly slide on to the next thing.
We're just going to nod and smile and say, yes. And
then sometimes what they say is highly inappropriate and you just agreed to it, And then I'm just like, sorry, I'm deaf. I didn't hear a single thing you said.
So just to put it also into perspective, you are living with a 40-50% hearing impairment. So that is a lot of I can't even put it into words in terms of like how that changes someone's life. But also there's a lot of misconceptions that comes with such a big number of a hearing loss and music. And like I said, you are defying the odds in terms of, like you just said, I have a passion, and who is society to tell me that just because I have an impairment, I'm not allowed to live out my dreams? So with you starting to move from just having a passion for music into creating music for the industry and for yourself, well, not technically for the industry, but for yourself and for people, how has that balance been coming into your life?
It really only struck me that, like, I wanted to be a superstar. Like, when I was able to write my own music, I think I wrote my first ever song. It was called Save Me, and I did this cute little CD. Remember CDs? And did a whole printout with cute photos on them with the foldable books with lyrics, because I used to despise buying CDs that didn't have lyric books in it. And I'm like, okay, these are really cute pictures of Britney, but I need the words, y'all. Like, I don't know what this girl is saying. So I was really excited to be able to open up something like that and it be mine. So I think when I wrote my first song, I was like, yes. And I always had a passion for poetry. So I think when I realized the two could marry one another, it was a really life-changing moment for me. And I was in 8th grade. I'll never forget it. I was 14 years old. And there was just this moment in front of the piano. And I was like, like
this.
And that was really when I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Whether I do it for other people or for myself, whether I'm performing for other people or I just have these beautiful stories to tell, even if it's just to tell it to myself, it just was not an option to not pursue that at that point. So I think what it meant for me is therapy. It's entertainment for other people, but it's therapy for me. Robbie Williams said that at one of his shows. And he was like, this is entertainment, but for me it's therapy. Yeah, and it really is that. And I think that's why performing live and booking female artists and giving independent artists a chance, and giving artists that aren't necessarily the norm a chance, I think there's such a big opportunity there. So yeah, just for me, it's what a shame if I wouldn't do something that has felt so surreal and healing for me. And if I get to share that with other people and it's healing for them, I've really hit the nail on the head. I think that's what art is and that's what music is. It's supposed to make us feel things. So I think something as powerful as that is inevitable. I don't know. When I say I'm passionate about this and I really live and breathe it, as frustrating as it is to be an independent artist or just a musician in general, and then you add the South African scale to it, it's tough. It's really, really tough, and it's very demotivating to do this. But then I write something that really makes me feel so much, and I'm like, all right, we're back in it. Let's go.
There
I guess
we go.
we gotta go record this song now.
It's absolutely beautiful. And I love how you actually reference Robbie Williams, because I also went to go watch his show in the beginning of the year. And that's exactly what I want. After the day after, or the Monday after I saw a show, I was like, listen here, Robbie Williams said something, and I shared it on my show, and that was like exactly how I feel about radio as well. I just think we have so much to talk about. We are going to talk about, like you referenced, women in the industry and how you advocate for them, and how we're going to bring to light some of the struggles that swept under the rug, if I can say so myself, and that a listener from Musiek do not understand the struggles that come with being a woman in the industry, making music and actually getting it out there. So we're definitely going to talk about that, more about your journey, and just have a lacquer time with you. Carla Franco.
I'm having a great time.
Thank you. Via Zoom tonight, because she decided to make big moves in her career. And although moving to Cape Town, I'm very sad that you didn't decide to move to Pretoria, because this would have been an in-person conversation and we would have been besties by now.
Respectfully, did the Pretoria thing for a year, and that was cute, and no.
Okay. Carla Franco.
I had a lot of fun though. I studied there. All fairness, I saw too many university days in Pretoria.
Okay.
It's a little bit traumatizing, and it was great fun, and yes, I'll leave it at that.
You needed to clean the palette a little. Okay, so Pretoria won't be mad at you for saying, oh, Carla Franco said Pretoria's cute, but no. But at least we have amazing music to play everywhere in Pretoria, everywhere around the world, and also talk about your journey in the music industry. Now, I want to talk about a specific topic that you said that we should not shy away from, and I love that, because a lot of people want to sweep it under the rug, is the struggles of the industry, specifically for women in music as well. You are a very big advocate for it. So if we talk about, and unfortunately it's very weird, I'm gonna tell you my experience. When you're in high school or school, it's always the girls doing the musicals. It's always the girls doing the Eisteddfods. It's never the guys, because that's not cool. But then all of a sudden you get into the big world of music, then it's a male-dominated industry. And I'm like, where were you in high school when I was wearing a tutu? You were making fun of me, but now I am supposed to be lesser than you in this industry? How is that working?
Yeah. Also, just to touch on the Pretoria thing, I love Pretoria. Some of my best gigs have been in Pretoria. I just feel like I need to slide that in there before everyone's like, go, you're literally op Groot FM. Just kan jy rustig staan.
We love you too, don't worry.
I'm just a bit traumatized, okay?
Your time for Pretoria will come. Your time for Pretoria will come when the time is right. Don't rush it.
The live music scene in Pretoria is the best, and I've had really great memories there, so just need to put that out there.
Okay.
Swiftly moving back to the serious topic. It is, I've been told many a time, Carla, you're burning bridges before you've even built them. And I'm like, right, but if they weren't booking me anyways, or what's the harm? To ask the questions that need to be asked. I think the biggest frustration as a female artist is just access to the industry.
Yes.
And how those access, quote unquote, social passes come to be. I think the general public thinks that, well, it's about the music. I don't think they realize how multifaceted the industry is and how difficult and challenging and exhausting and demotivating it is behind the scenes. If you don't have a massive label behind you, or if you don't have the finances yourself to do it, there's a working class element to being a musician that's really not spoken about enough. How expensive it is to do this. And then on the lucky occasion that you as a female artist get booked for a festival, for a gig, you're even luckier to be paid your worth. And that's like, when I say paid your worth, I'm not talking extremities, I'm talking your rates.
Yes.
You are considered incredibly lucky if your rates are matched. And there are some festivals that do this super ethically and want to support the local artists and want to get behind the artists, but the vast majority don't. And I just think this is a conversation we need to be having more often than we currently are.
100%. I think the days where organizers and industry big heads can go and say, listen, you're doing this for the experience, because how else are you going to get the experience, is long gone, because we can have experience on our own social media platforms and still like make revenue off of it. It, like you said, it needs to be a thing of like, just at least pay us our rate. So when it comes to that very lelike word saying the pay gap, unfortunately in the industry, it's been spoken about locally, it's been spoken about internationally, about the thing called a gender pay gap. And a lot of people say, no, but this is not true. But it is.
I think that people who are saying it's not true are either not aware, or they are not willing to put in the energy that they need to put in to do the research to become aware. Speak to the local artists that you know, speak to local band members, speak to session musicians, and then ask yourself why predominantly males are session musicians, and then look into the statistics, and then look at lineups. I think there was a conversation that happened last year, or within the last year and a half, where a particular local music festival was under a lot of fire because there was like maybe one or two female artists on the entire festival log. And since then, I think there's been and I'm putting this in a quote unquote, effort to hire more female artists. But then even within that, a lot of the female artists that are being hired, there are two elements to it. One, there's a real buddy-buddy system to getting those bookings. And two, female artists that are being booked. And all of them are exceptional, don't get me wrong.
Yes,
all of these
100%.
female artists that are getting booked are incredibly talented. But then they're also not having their rate matched. So it's kind of like you say, it's like, oh, but for the exposure. And I'm like, babe, but I have both to pay. I have a band to pay. I have a hotel or an Airbnb to book. Like, these things don't just happen. I'm a 5-piece band and you want to tell me you're going to pay 2,000 Rand for an hour set at one of the biggest festivals in South Africa. Are you joking? Like, it's just so difficult to justify when you're forking out big cash for male artists that don't even match streams of some of the female artists, let alone ticket buyers. It's just such a multifaceted thing, and it's so nuanced. Like, even what I'm saying, there's opposing arguments that can go against what I'm saying. You know, it's a really complex industry, and I really urge local music lovers to ask more questions, to challenge your festival owners and your favorite festivals in South Africa. Like, book more female artists. Like, book multiple genre artists. That's also another thing we need to talk about. Like, a lot of female artists have very multifaceted, multi-genre sounds. Like, book them in. Let's mesh genres together. You can bring so many crowds together, so many different groups of people together for the love of music. And I just think that is the essence that's been lost. Like, it is just, oh, but what can make us money? And I'm like, but you haven't even explored the other side to know that it wouldn't make you money.
Very true.
So very, very, very difficult challenge that I don't think a lot of people understand just how challenging it has become.
I have two questions for you still on this topic. We're going to take a quick break, but I'm gonna let them like soak with you for a little. The one would be definitely of like how we can push for change. Like you already said, like start asking the questions, but from a general public perspective, how we can push for change, and also the female musician that you really look up to, that helps you stay motivated and work for this advocacy. So we're going to get to those questions in a moment. Carla Franco nog saam met my op Alt Fokus and just have a big chat. Like, I can't believe our time is almost done. It's Carla Franco op GROOT FM 90.5. How is it that we literally have only 8 minutes left? Like, we have been chatting a hond uit the bos uit, I'm telling you.
I think it's actually quite disrespectful. I think GROOT FM need to have we just need to do a whole chat, like a whole woman there chat, you know? That's what we need to be having.
We have already settled that when you're in Pretoria, you are dropping me a message, you're coming onto the show, and we're taking this for a Carla Franco X Alt Focus Part 2. So we don't have any time to waste. We have 2 questions to get through, and one of them is definitely, well, I almost forgot. Wait, I lost my train of thought. No, I don't have time to lose my train of thought. Okay, I'm back. I am back. We are talking about how the general public who listens to female music can push for change. Yes.
Yeah, I think there's so much power in the people, and they need to understand respectfully. There are very few people in the industry that legitimately care about the artist and their needs. Like, if you're not going to bring in that capital, you're just another number. And we all know it, and it's like that. It comes with being in the industry. Like, it is that way, male or female, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I just think the public needs to understand, if you're asking the questions and it's not coming from the artist and it's not coming from the musician, there's a lot of power in that. Because if the general public is sending this message, they are forced to listen. They have to listen at some point because it's going to affect their sales. And so there's a lot of oomph that can be behind just saying, hey, we really want to see Carla Franco at your gigs, or hey, we really want to see CCB at your gigs, and hey, we really want to be listening to Kayla the Crow more. Like, you know, there's so many brilliant female artists in this country that there's not a shortage. Why are you not hiring Mila Smith? Like, there's so many people we could be packing onto those lineups that will really come with Vava Boom, because we've got so much to lose. We've got so much to lose that we're not about to slip on any opportunity we're given, which means you're about to get a heck of a show. So hire more women. I promise you, your sales will boost and your shows will be great.
I love how you mentioned Mila Smith, because she was literally my first guest for the week on Tuesday. We were talking about new music.
She's brilliant.
And
she's brilliant. Anybody go listen to her song Nice Guy? It's unreal. Go do it. Please.
No, she's so talented, hey?
She's so good.
And I realized that I love how I'm a part of this, because all my guests this week was females. Yesterday I had Al Day, today I have you. So talking about female artists, is there a specific, or you did mention off air, you have multiple female artists that you really relate to and you find inspiration from?
Yeah, so there's 4. The one is Kat Byrne. She is a
Beautiful.
Female, black, brilliant, autistic, queer performer. Love her. Joy Aladican is another one. She's got a beautiful country indie sound to her, and she speaks about like the struggles of faith and being queer, and she's just so raw and so honest. She's very outspoken about the industry and the lack of pay and the lack of taking care of your artists. And then you've got LP, who is insane. If you haven't listened to LP's music, please do yourself a favor. It's going to change your life. And Doechii. Doechii has really flipped my life around. I feel like we're watching like excellence in an artist in a way that
on a next level,
in a way that we haven't seen since like Britney Spears and Madonna. Like, it's true theater and performance, and it's got the root of true old school hip hop. Like, obsessed, just obsessed.
Many of Doechii's things as well is very much, people don't realize, self choreographed and ideas that she brings to life herself. And it's amazing because such a big platform, one woman doing it all. Carla, you really have inspired me to go watch Doechii tonight again. But before I get to go home and watch Doechii, I need to play music from you. So just for someone who literally came in now, I have how much? 3 minutes left. I can make it work. If you had to explain the Carla Franco sound to someone, in a sentence, what would that be for you personally?
It's not a one-stop shop, but there's something for everyone.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. It's like, okay.
I don't want to be a one genre kind of performer, girl. So
there we go.
It's not a one-stop shop, but there will be something for everyone.
And then if we want to have one place at least for this not one-stop shop to go and see what you're up to, follow your journey along, what social medias are you dominating right now?
Instagram, ma'am. If you find me, I am a millennial as Keith. That's where you're going to find me. It's on Instagram. So you can find me at Carla Franco with a C. It's Carla with a C. Franco with a C. _ at official, and you can find me on Instagram, or just Carla Franco official on Instagram, and you found me. And everything, the link to my music, anything I'm getting up to, you'll find on there.
Okay. And last but not least, I personally fell in love with Scared to Love. I really want to play it, but I'm going to open it up to you tonight. If you had to pick one of these three, Symbols, Scared to Love, or Sweet Talker, which one would you say is a good intro to Carla Franco?
Scared to Love. I think it's a well-balanced sort of pop track, but it's also got the depth of my indie songwriting, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it.
I'm not gonna argue with that. Carla Franco, you were literally the main focus tonight for the show on Alt Focus, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to come share their story and their journey. Thank you so much. Next time you are in the seat, you are with your piano or whatever you need to make music, and we are going to continue this conversation. Part 2 coming very soon. For now, Carla Franco op Groot FM 90.5, ultimate favorite van my kant af, genaamd Scared to Love. This is a vibe and you'll love it.
Groot FM 90.5